Hey everybody, it's Paul here, and I'm going to do a quick run on making neon, but it's not exactly something entirely new because I've seen older tutorials on this. But I'm just changing the material a little bit so you can get like closer into a neon sign or something so it looks good. If you're doing this in sign, you could probably follow the other tutorials, but I came up with a little method that makes it a neat material for close-up work. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, so just a plane for background. It doesn't matter too much, it's just going to be a basic material. No, of course, this is going to be cycles render, and I can just use that material that already exists for the plane. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy, but for, let's make a, what is it, a path? Actually, let's do a curve. Let's do a curve, there we go. I know it's a little bit easier controlling. So, yep, I'm just gonna solo it, and I should probably have my keyboard commands on, right? Screen caskeys. Here. That might help a little bit. Might. And usually when I do these paths first, I switch them to 2D just so it's a little faster to work with them. I don't have to keep constraining to a plane. There's other ways to do grease pencil and stuff too, so might be worth learning that. Edit mode. And I'm just going to extrude this out. Eh, I know it's bored. I'm terrible learning, I'm so quiet. Don't worry. Probably speed through this. Oh. When making your pass for neon signs, you shouldn't really have it go through itself. You should make it overlap in 3D space. This one is pretty simple, so don't worry about it too much. And once you get it set up like this, you're going to want to have it change a little bit 3D space. So once you get the 2D shape of your text established, let's switch to 3D and extrude vertically. Oops. A little tricky. So you want them to go into stump. Because you want the ends to go like they're poking into the surface. It's a little tricky. Just bear with me. Alright. Alright, close enough. Got something like this where it goes down in like so. And object mode. I don't have to slow this anymore. And so it intrudes in the surface a bit like so. There. That makes it a little easier. Camera and right now we can do a quick test render, and you don't see anything because there's nothing to the path. Okay, so now we gotta select the path and give it a bevel depth, and we want to make it a full shape, and we want to give it some resolution. You can see it's pinching a bit, so we can either make it narrower or you gotta adjust it again. In this case, I'm going to make it a little bit narrower so it doesn't pinch. If you have glass tubes, you really don't want it to pinch. And I'll adjust it a little bit more. Alright, that should be good enough. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the world's best quality, but I'm just showing you how to do the material. And so we see we got our tubes here, but they're not neon yet. Alright, so let's get them neon and get a compositing layout. And join this area. And I'm going to change this to rendered view. And I'm going to like that. And wait, this doesn't have a material assigned, does it? Let's give it one. Alright. That would help. But for whatever you're doing for the tubes, do your own setup, but just keep it simple, and you don't want the tubes to pass through each other or bend too tight, because like I said, for neon glass, it's not going to do that. And basically what we're doing is emitter. So, share emitter. Where is it? It's down there somewhere. There's emission. And actually it's going to be a mix of two emissions. So add shader mix. And we're going to use input and see the light path. The reason it's going to be a mix of two emissions is because the way anti-aliasing is handled in the software here. If you overdrive you can overdrive the values past 1 for brightness and stuff. What happens is when it gets a certain intensity, anti-aliasing fails to work and you get these hard jagged edge pixels. So when you're up close, you'll notice that. For like a distant sign, probably not. But for up close work, it is something you'll notice. So one thing you want to do is have camera ray set up. And the first one is when the camera ray is 0, which means it's not a camera ray. So this one you can use to drive the actual brightness that lights the scene. And then this one is the one that makes it as bright as you're going to see it, but you really don't want to push the strength past 1 for that one. So plug in this, and you can see once I plug that in, it's emitting light into the scene even though it itself is not emitting light. And I plug it in that. And you can do some like interesting weird effects that way. So that's what the light path does for you. And it's kind of slow because I'm recording full screen. And if you didn't notice, I have a big screen now. As for before, we had a smaller screen, so it's probably going to be slower recording. Alrighty, isn't that fun? If you watch my other videos. So what we want to do is give it some color. And I'm going to use a color ramp. Or actually it's going to be converter color ramp. And the one that the camera sees, I'm also going to mix with glass. So we gotta do that. And for the color, so use a color ramp. And why am I going to use a color ramp? First I gotta do is go to this property and go to texture space. And we're going to use UVs for mapping. Excuse me there. Alright. And I'm going to drag color from here, color from there. That's especially it. And UVs for mapping is going to give you distance along the path. So let's see. Put texture coordinate. And we're going to use UV, but we're only going to use, what is it, the U coordinate out of it? Which is the distance along the path. When you turn that on, you can get that idea. Oh, I mean, page for dinner, but it's going to have to wait. Inverter. Separate RGB. And we'll just drag that to there. We'll use the R value into the factor node. And you can already see that it starts on the one end of the path and then goes here. So what we do is I'm going to do the color. It's like in a neon tube. And we're going to add should start giving it some colors. I'm going to make this a light blue. This too will be a light blue. Oops, I plugged it into the wrong thing. No wonder why it's not showing up. Here, that helps. Yeah, I don't need it in the factor. Art. We'll be using that factor though, and I did forget to add my glass. Alright, shader. Glass. notice it gets a little brighter as the glass material picks that up. Still going to be another mix with that. And you can see it gets dark at the end, and it goes to the color, and then color, add another level to the ramp. And what I'm going to do here is make the ones at the end a darkish purple color, like so. Same at the other end. Darkish purpley color. So you notice neon signs usually don't glow consistently bright all the way through. That's why this material is different than what most everybody else is doing. This is for like close-up effects where you can notice these things. And I'm going to add another thing on the ramp. And make it blue, but a dark blue. And add another one on the end. Darker blue. So you see you got that kind of glow like the neon signs get at the ends of the tubes. This is what I'm doing different. Alright. So what happens is you got cathodes at the end of the tubes that are driving it, and they tend to push little to the ultraviolet end of the spectrum. And so the light, you don't see it as much coming from the ends where the cathodes are. And there's usually also a orangey glow there too. From the actual cathode coil is glowing, I guess. So I gotta add another level here. And it'll be like a reddish orange. Same here, reddish orange color. I gotta zoom in because you don't want it too strong. It's gotta be like a real subtle thing. Dang it, I have the wrong thing. Sometimes it's hard to grab it. That's why I gotta zoom in on these things. So you get an effect that's like that, where the cathodes are underneath on tubes. But I'm still not done yet. So what we want to do is give it a stronger strength to actually light the scene. And the glass still picks up that strength, by the way, just so you're aware of it. And then this one I usually put 0.95 around thereabouts. And that way when you get in close, well, it's kind of hard to tell with the preview render, but your aliasing will give you the defined edge instead of, you won't get the, instead of, you'll have the anti-aliasing work for you. That's what I'm trying to say. So now we want to control how the glass mixes in. And that is done with a facing node. Oops. It's layer weight, not light path. Oh, what am I doing? Now you can see the glow isn't consistent throughout. It has brighter edges and a darker inside, which is kind of neat. But usually the neon glows from inside the tube. So to get our neon material looking really neat up close. Notice this is also for like hanging signs is more likely, because on some fixtures that part's going to be hidden more into the base of the object, or it's going to have a cap on it. But for hanging signs, like the ones you see hanging on windows, you'll usually see that cathode or just the end of it. You'll probably want the model caps and little things to hang your sign or whatever. But I'm not going to go into that. And some other thing I want to do is, what am I looking for? Here's the color, RGB curves. Yeah, that's the one I want. Now, I could do a gradient with that, but it's easier to use curves, and I use the combined layer. I don't mess the RGB separate. And right now, it's just like the same as a black and white color ramp going from black to white. So, what we want is something with like a little hump to it. And I believe it's this shape here. And now I'll give you more defined glow on the edge, but we also want to glow in the middle. Because the gas is actually illuminating from the middle, and we get something that's like this. Now it's not exactly entirely accurate because it's facing nodes, so it will change on the camera direction, but if you're looking to it near ends like this, it does provide a pretty cool effect. So what I'm just going to do is go to default, and I'm going to kick up the samples a bit so you can see. I'm going to make that 150. It's not a whole lot of samples, you'll want more for a good scene, but this will show you how it looks when it's done. One for the glass, I should probably change some of the factors for the glass. Let's do that. Glass, we want to have an actual glass refraction value, which is like 1.57. That's common glass refraction. And roughness 0.025. Something like that. That'll give you a more realistic glass component. And then, now we render it. Like I said, you got different channels, so if your neon isn't lighting up objects in the scene bright enough, you can push up the one part of the emission without having this blow out. So you can light your scene without losing your anti-aliasing, which is neat. And you got your little cathode effect at the end of the tubes, which a lot of neon renders totally miss out. And that's just what I wanted to show you. It's like an updated neon render. And of course, that's the element neon. So there you go. And one thing about these neon tubes, different colors aren't always neon. You could have helium or carbon dioxide or some other different gases in there. But there, everybody knows them as neon. So there you go. That's how you make a more advanced neon material, I guess. That'll be the title.